Hello friends, welcome to another exciting episode with me and a Photoshop design series. In this particular video, I'm not going to be designing anything. I'm just basically going to be showing you how I customize my workspace, my interface, my canvas inside of Photoshop, and of course a little bit of tips and tricks that you can use along the line. So if you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn on post notification so you miss any of the videos I'll be dropping anytime from now. Now let's get started. First things first, when you open Photoshop, like I get these questions a lot: how did you customize your interface, all of that. Now the secret to really understanding Photoshop is getting comfortable with your tools and of course your customized interface, right? I know it can be very hard when you are inside of Photoshop, especially if you are a newbie and you have so many things going on around and everything looks kind of like you don't understand it. Now I would do my best to make sure I break things down for you and show you how I customize my interface so you'll be able to move things around freely by yourself. Okay, so without having to say too much, let's get started. So the first thing is I'm just going to click on file. Of course, what you have here is this is where you have, this is your home screen, right? Just like your phone, you know what a home screen is. I don't want to go into that today, right? So this is like what your home screen looks like, right? So in your home screen you have your create a new document, and your open of course maybe something that you've designed previously, or and it could be an image or a PSD file, right? Now to the right hand side of life here you have your recent files. Of course they are stacked differently, so this is in tiles and you have it somewhat like this. I don't know exactly what this is, right? So you have it like this. So these are files that I had created or opened previously. So this is like your previously, just like when you're watching a series movie and they're saying previously on, let me say Game of Thrones, like that's like my favorite, like Game of Thrones. So you see everything that you've opened probably in the past 1 hour, in the past 1 day. You can see it has a time frame. So this is 19 minutes, this is 19 minutes, this is 2 hours, and all of that. Do you understand? So you get all of that here. Now let's quickly jump into the interface. So if I want to create new, I'm just going to click on create new. I'm not going to be I'm not going to define anything here. I'm just going to leave all of this way. So 1920 1080 blah blah blah, bloom, click on create. Now if you're opening Photoshop the first time, this is what you are going to be greeted with. Now by default this is all you're going to see, and because this is the default interface Photoshop gives you, right? This is where to the left hand side you have your tools. This is your toolbox or your toolbars, right? This is your tool section. This is where you have your panels. Now the three most vital things inside of Photoshop currently is your toolbox, your panels, all these colors, swatches, gradients, patterns, properties, adjustments, layers, and all of that, that are your panels. And of course this is your canvas. It's called the canvas, where you create all the magic, where you guys have been creating magic, right? Great. So to make things easier, I've always been of the opinion that most of all these things are not really necessary. You don't need to have them all opened up, because most times you don't even get to even use any of those things. So the way I customize my interface is just so I work with those things that I actually need, not having everything around. Work with those things that I need. So hence it makes my designing process very easy, so I can quickly locate where I want to locate, anywhere I want to locate it, right? So to start with customizing, there are some few things I want to get rid of. Now I would like to start with this guy over here, which is a toolbox, right? So instead of having one straight line down, I like to click on this to stack it up, so I have two lines. So I can see, the reason why I have this is so I can see all of my tools here all at once, right? In your system it might be different, you can have it on one line like that, but I like having mine like this. But if yours would have space for you, you can have just one line and you're seeing all of them, but I like to leave mine like this, right? Now over here, like I said, if you go to Windows and you go to Okay, if you go come over here, they have simplified it for you. Now the good thing about Photoshop is they actually have workspace that's dedicated to different kind of creators. Like if I come here, click on this arrow, you can see you have ignore these two. These are the ones I customized already, which I'm going to be showing you how to do it in no time, right? So you have essentials, you have 3D, you have graphics, you have motion, painting, photography. These are default workspace. Now by default, you can see that the one selected is the essentials. Now this is the default workspace inside of Photoshop. That's why you have all of these panels here arranged like this. And imagine how, okay, I'm just going to come back to this, why I have my layers here. Very funny, right? So essentials, right? So if I toggle to 3D, no longer works again because Photoshop, Adobe has another software dedicated towards making 3D. So they've discontinued everything about 3Ds inside of Photoshop, right? Far back as 2017, 16, 15, it used to be a thing then, right? So like I said, all these are workspace. So from what you're looking at here, this is essentials, right? So if I go to graphics and web, you can see that my workspace has changed, right? So I no longer have what I had in essentials. These are different. You can see over here too, this one has changed, right? So if I click and go to motion, the same thing too happens. You can see this one has created added different panels, and you can see that I have a timeline here. Of course, you're working on motion, so you need to have a timeline, just like your video editor like CapCut, After Effects, and DaVinci Resolve, right? So this is your timeline that you have here. So I can switch again and switch to painting, and of course it's dedicated towards painting. So you have your brushes, your swatches, your navigator, and you channels parts, and all of these things you have stacked inside here. So this is your history, this is your clone brush, everything relating to painting. And the last one here is photography. Of course, if you're a photographer, yes, Photoshop has room for you to operate. So you have different things here, your Instagram navigator, which I don't know what you use that for, right? So I'm just going back and set it back to essentials. Now another question I get asked a lot is most times my workspace, I can't find this on my workspace, or not I can't find this, I mistakenly removed a panel and I can't fix it back. Or probably you have things like this. Maybe you have, I see some persons and all your workspace be looking like this and everything scattered around. How do you live, right? You have everything undocked. Some even go as far as bringing this outside here, and you design like this. How do you do those things? If you are one of those persons, you need to actually tell me how you do that in the comment. Just drop a comment and explain to me why you would want all of these things unstacked and arranged, and you're designing in peace. Gosh. Okay, so maybe you have all of this unstacked and you start panicking. Well, you don't have to panic. The thing you need to do is go over to where you have this here, and because you're on essentials, right, all you need to simply do is click on reset essentials. Now when you click on this, and just like a snap of the hand, like Thanos did, it falls back in place, right? So you don't need to panic and stress yourself about how to arrange it or how to put this back, or probably you bring this out and you're trying to stack it and it's not going, it's not just entering and you're forcing yourself. No, it doesn't have to work like that. Just come back here and reset essentials, and voila, it goes back. Great. So for this, I'm just going to show you how I customize mine. Now there are few things I use while I'm designing, and I'm just going to state them out. The first thing and very important thing I use is the layer, and I'll show you why by default I don't agree to the arrangement of how this is being placed inside of Photoshop or inside of any of this workspace, either essentials, graphics, and all of that. My layer shouldn't be here. Now I'll show you an example. Let me go back to the home page and I click on this, right? So when I click it, I'm just going to click it. Now these are the things I've created recently. Now this is a composition I did a while ago, so let me just double click to open it. And of course, you know, compositions like this, you have layers. Now if you come here, click on this arrow and select layer count. Now this shows you, most persons don't know that they actually have this thing inside of their Photoshop, but then good news, you have it, right? So click on the layer count. If I click on this, by default this is what you have. You have document size, and you're seeing the size. You can see how large this document is, 143.9 M. Wow, very big. Now layers count, I have 40 layers. Now this is my layers tab, right? How am I supposed to do all of this, squinting my eyes inside here and focusing on working on all these layers when they are inside? For example, now I need to turn off all these things. How do I do all of these things when I have my layers here? I cannot see them properly, right? It just doesn't work, right? So that's why I don't agree in several ways why I have to have my layers here. So to make that easy, what I usually do, or what I would do, is I like to set my layers apart and set it aside, just make sure it's on its own, right? So what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to click and drag, and I'm going to add it here like this. Of course, there you go, makes life easy. You can see that I have everything I used inside of this composition, and I can toggle, I can scroll with my scroll wheel on my keyboard like this, and you can see this is the entire composition, everything that I have, just easy peasy like that, right? Great. So if I move over to where I'm coming from, you can see it has changed because I have moved it there, right? So I'm just going to close this up. Since I've explained that, I'm going to close this up. No, I don't want to save anything, and move this. The next thing I like using very well is also the path. So I'm just going to move this part here, just click, hold and drag, and I'm just going to dock it alongside the layers, right? So after your layers, you have your path. The next thing I want to move again is the channels. Of course, I love using channels most times when I get deep into compositions or I need to retouch images. I use my channels too. So click and drag and place it here, right? The last thing which I am not seeing here currently is my actions. So if there's a thing you're not seeing here, you can always go to Windows and come here and click on it. You can see actions. When I click this, you can see it has come. So what I need to do is just click and drag and place here. You can see now, so I have my layers, paths, action. So this is action, bring it, just drag it. When it clicks blue and you are inside this same panels, you can just let it go like this. So you have layers, paths, channels and actions, right? So this guy here, what's this? History. I do not need this, right? So let's not complicate things for ourselves. Now I can start this up and have it like this. Now the next part here, which I have all of these things. I have color swatches. I will need to arrange this also. So the first thing I like to always have first, like, because I use them a lot, is the gradient. So I'm just going to move my gradient like this. I'm just dragging and moving. I'm not moving it out, I'm just dragging along a straight line like this, right? So gradient comes first, and colors falls in place. And what else? Swatches, yeah, I use this too. And the last one I use is properties. So I'm just going to remove pattern like this, bring it out and click on this X, right? So I'm just going to move these properties up here and dump it there. So I'm just going to take adjustment and libraries out, click, hold and drag out like this, and close this up. Also my libraries and all of them, and bring it up now. So I'm just going to close this up, and you can see when I open this up and I open this up, this is what I have exactly. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. These are the most prominent panels that I use inside of Photoshop. And of course I would like to use mine like this, so I don't like this chain of long line like I explained before, right? So I have layers, part, channels and all of these things arranged in the way I want it to be. Now the second part of this is having to save these things, right? So of course you can customize it, and if you can customize the thing, you can always save it. Now when you come here, you can click on new workspace, right? New workspace, then you get this dialog box that comes up and everything. Of course you can give it a name. So we can name this workspace X, right? So you can give it the name of your choice, you can give it your name and add your name to it and all of that, and put it the way you want it to be. Now what this means is it's saying capture, right? So if you have customized keyboard shortcut, of course you can customize keyboard shortcut in Photoshop. I'll be doing a video of that in some other time, right? So keyboard shortcuts, menus, and your toolbars, you can have them customized. If this is how you want it to be, you can check mark all of them and click on what? Save. So when you click on save, by default, no matter how you close your Photoshop and reopen it, you're going to see your workspace like this. Now to verify what you have saved, you can come back here, click on this arrow, you can see workspace X is currently active. So when you toggle, let's say we go back to essentials, this is essentials that we did. Okay, we got that from essentials. So let's go to somewhere else, maybe like 3D painting and stuff like that. And of course this is how it is. So if you want to go back to what we just did, we can just come here and click on workspace X, and boom, voila, there you go, right? So this is workspace X, and let's click on this reset essentials. Essentials need to be on its own, and let's move to workspace X. So you understand the difference now. So you have essentials, and you have the workspace, which we just customized like this. So it's very, very easy when you are working with, for example, now let me open up this composition, right? So this composition in itself has 62 layers. There are some compositions that can get more than this. It's very, very easy when you can easily navigate to actually change things around, and you can see these layers are, they are much, right? They are just much, right? So there are points where you need to I'm going to open up something that has to do with colors, so I can explain why you need your layers simplified and all of that. Okay, so let me open this up. Let me see if I can get, so you can see this has 63 layers. So most times when you just see compositions that are just like this and you feel it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, you may have to just check again, right? So of course, great. So I'm just going to turn this off here, and you can see I have a layer where I added colors, right? So double click, you can just double click, and of course you have your color swatch here. I can choose to use this version of this color, right? And just click OK like this. So it's very, very good when you have things, or is it that you want to change your text? Stay on properties and select your text. So while you are on text, you are on any text, maybe you need to change this text and everything, you can just simply come here, and this is all you need when you are actually making changes to text, right? Great. And of course, one reason why the properties, this is very, very important, is because you have access to not just text. When you are working with images also, you can adjust or change things around. For example, let me open up something else. Okay, so I have this image like this. I'm just going to drag in like this, and click on this padlock. You can see that because I'm in properties, that's why I can see remove background. So I will just easily click on remove background, and of course Photoshop does what it knows how to do best, and it removes the background. Though it's not perfect, you can go in with your tools and just make a couple of adjustments, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8. And of course use your brush to get rid of those parts, and it's not still perfect, but then I'm just showing you how this can be easy when you have everything in place and you really need to work fast, right? Nice. All right, now that you understand how I set up my interface, if there's any question you need to ask about how I set up my workspace that you don't understand, please, you can actually pause this video and replay and rewind and practice along. That's how you actually learn. Pause and you practice along, right? All right guys, this brings me to the end of this video. I will see you in the next video. I love you all.